forecast and Adrian Sainsbury's letters to share. Stay with us. Nice to have you alone. Hope you had a great 2 weeks. And now then, for our Duke's report.
Greetings once again from the city of Dunedin. The first signs of spring are starting to show, and the weather has been quite settled after a spell of strong winds and rain earlier in July. The first topic in this broadcast is one which came as a shock to me, as well as others in the shortwave listening fraternity, and that the magazine Monitoring Times is to cease publication from December after 33 years of publishing radio topics for all aspects of the hobby. For those not familiar with the magazine, it is published by Bob Grove, who founded Grove Enterprises. Grove Enterprises sells receivers, scanners, antenna, actually any accessory to enhance the hobby of shortwave listening. The announcement regarding Monitoring Times appeared on their website with the headline, "It's time for us to retire," followed by, "After 33 years of service to the radio community, Monitoring Times will cease publication with the December 2013 issue." On the MT Utility website, which is maintained by Hugh Stegman, a longer version by Bob stated that after the 33 years of publishing the most informative and lauded magazine on monitoring the radio spectrum, Judy and I are finally going to retire. We are grateful for the dedicated efforts of our found staff of writers for the excellent work which has kept MT alive for all these years. While we know the discontinuation of MT with our December issue will be a disappointment to our readers and writers alike, we realise that a combination of a downturn economy as well as ready availability of free listening and technical information on the internet has reduced sales and subscriptions throughout the marketplace. I would like to thank you personally for your knowledge, your dependability and your professionalism in making MT the publication that is most often referred to in the radio monitoring hobby. It is a legacy that we have all inherited. The Monitoring Times supported all facets of the listening hobby, including utilities, and had several links on the MT website to information regarding frequency lists, antenna information, call signs of utility stations, and much more. There is also a blog called B-Town Monitoring Post, the new version of which went online in June this year, which suggests that the decision to cease publication of MT had been a sudden one. The name B-Town comes from the location of Grove Enterprises, which is in Brasstown, North Carolina. Certainly, after December, there will be a void which won't easily be filled. The trend in the shortwave world is for downsizing these days, with a lot of the broadcasting stations either closing down or scaling back their schedules, and the same has been happening with some of the utility stations as well. Some services are being replaced by digital type transmissions in the broadcast area, and in the utility field, similar has happened with number stations stopping transmitting after years of activity in some cases. Also, the non-directional beacons, or NDBs, which transmit on the long-wave part of the radio spectrum, are gradually being replaced with VHF types. And this is another example of changes which are occurring. Looking at the positive side of numbers scaling back, it does mean that the spectrum is not so cluttered, so in theory anyway, some of those hard-to-hear stations should become easier to capture. Although this next item doesn't mention what frequencies were being used, I thought it was interesting enough to be included. It features a form of radio being used by a real-life spy drama in Germany and being carried out by two Russians, a married couple who spied for Russia for more than 20 years until they were arrested in 2011. Their means of communicating with their masters in Russia was with a high-frequency transmitter which transmitted to one of several satellites as they came into range at their location. The transmitter was housed in what looked like an ordinary laptop computer bag containing what appeared to be a standard Siemens hard drive, but was really the transmitter with the antenna hidden in the flap of the bag. They received their dispatches via shortwave radio from their controllers, and when they had information to send, all they had to do was be ready when one of the 6 to 8 satellites was coming into range. Then a red light on their transmitter would be lit, indicating that this was the case, and then there would be a blue light following, showing that the message had been sent. The messages were encoded for transmission and were apparently information obtained from a Dutch government official who worked in the foreign ministry in Germany. Eventually, the agent's report from the German authorities, acting on a tip-off, tracked down the Russian couple, and the controllers realised that their cover had been blown and ordered the agents back to Russia, first dismantling, then disposing of the transmitter into a body of water near their location. Before this happened, however, the German authorities had apprehended the mail agent in a second apartment which he used and confiscated his keys, which they then used to let themselves into the main apartment. And there they found his wife operating on transmitter and in contact with Moscow. It was reported that she was completely surprised, so much so in fact that she fell off her chair. The trial has only just been completed, with both agents being found guilty earlier this month, with spying in Germany for more than 20 years. Negotiations were underway for a possible exchange to be arranged for them to return to Russia. While on the subject of things closing down, the HAARP, the High Frequency Active Auroral Research Program, has been closed down since sometime in May this year. HAARP was established in 1993 at a site in Gakona, Alaska, and was there to carry out experiments to help in the study of the properties and behaviour of the ionosphere, with the emphasis on using the ionosphere to improve communications and surveillance systems for civilian and defence purposes. The ionosphere, of course, is the part of the atmosphere between space and Earth in which electrically charged atoms or ions reflect radio rays, making long-distance radio communications possible. The site consisted of 360 radio transmitters with a combined power of 3.6 megawatts. They had 180 68-foot tall antennas covering an area of around 40 acres and 5 large generators providing more than 16 megawatts of power. This ultra-high power facility has long intrigued shortwave listeners and hams, even outside of Alaska. In 1997, HAARP transmitted test signals on high frequency at around 3.4 megahertz and 6.99 megahertz, and asked for reports from shortwave listeners and hams in the lower 48 states, in other words, the rest of the USA. And this was to determine how well the HAARP transmissions could be heard to the south. In 2007, HAARP succeeded in bouncing a 40-metre signal off the moon. That's around the 7 meg frequency. The reason given for the shutdown is one that most of us can relate to, and that it was extremely expensive to run, and the money simply wasn't available anymore. The approximate costs of keeping it running were in the region of $300,000 per month just to keep the facility open, and a further $500,000 to run it at full capacity for about 10 days. There were also other maintenance costs coming, with the diesel generators needing about $800,000 spent on them just to bring them up to specification under the conditions of the local Clean Air Act. Some people will no doubt welcome the closure, as the site has been suspected of having ulterior motives in its use. But regardless of your particular stance, it will be remembered as being a mammoth installation with some impressive statistics. Some of the theories put forward by various people were that HAARP was able to control weather, trigger natural catastrophes, cause planes to crash, and also cause power outages. Some also claimed it could alter people's mental states and in fact control minds. None of these claims were proven, but HAARP was still viewed with suspicion. On the listening front, things are relatively quiet here, only because the radio's not on as often as I would like it to megahertz portion of the spectrum, a lot of time spent on 8867 kilohertz, and also shared with 8176 kilohertz. 8867, of course, is the Auckland Aero frequency, where you can hear various aircraft that are flying into the South Pacific area and out of it. And 8176, I listen to it to just listen to marine weather from the station BMC in Australia. Well, that's all for this time, and you'll hear from me again in 2 weeks. Good listening, and goodbye until then from Kevin Hand.
Thank you, Kevin. And we see you back in 2 weeks. Well, hi, David.
Hello, Myra.
Welcome back, I was going to say.
You're right, it's been in Europe for 6 weeks.
Every time there?
Yes, maybe in Britain.
Yes.
It's very warm. It's 30 degrees centigrade plus, and now we're back in running today. It's still for 12, 13, 14.
And you missed the earthquake.
I don't miss the earthquakes, but I heard and read all about it.